Today I'll be playing Amazing Grace on my Native American flute. My dad's cousin, I think his name is Jimmy Yellowberry. He made this flute, and he also hand carved the buffalo. And it's actually two pieces of wood put together. It's not one whole flute. And this part here is how you tune it. So I'm going to get tuned right quick. I've been sick for a little while, so if I start coughing, just bear with me. But as y'all know, my name is Scott Walkingstick, and I go to JV Pennington, and I'm a senior this year, and I'll be graduating, hopefully. Anyways. But I am Native American. I'm a little bit over 0.5%, and so yeah. But today I'll be talking to y'all about how God sets a path for us, and we should get it right the first time. And I'll explain that a little bit better as we go along in the sermon. But God has a real good sense of humor, and He likes to express it to us, especially if you ask Him. I prayed to Him this past Thursday morning about what I should preach today, because I have been overwhelmed due to getting a sermon prepared for today, studying for final exams, and participating in graduation activities. So on Thursday afternoon, I got home early from school, and I already knew what I was going to do to prepare my sermon, right? No, I was going to go fishing. So I grabbed my fishing pole, which already had my favorite lure on it, and headed up to the pond. We have a pond right outside our house, and it's about 65 yards across, like perimeter. And it was hot outside, and the sun was way up high in the sky. Perfect day for fishing. I walked up to the bank and I started casting away. Before I know it, I was already having bad luck with my fishing. My line kept getting tangled up, and my hook kept on getting caught on weeds and limbs, and not one single fish was hitting my bait. So I went further on down the bank, down the pond, where it seemed like more fish were biting. You see, fish, they like to get up under tree limbs and make their beds that are in the ponds, and they also like to eat bugs that fall off the trees, so they're more around like bushy top spots around the pond. I casted my bait out again, hoping a fish would at least bite at it. I casted it 20 more times, still no. By now, I was actually questioning myself. Am I really Native American or not? I kept on casting, and every time I did, my line would get tangled up, and my hook would be flying in every which direction, except for I wanted it to go. Getting frustrated, I looked at my pole and I told myself, oh, and by the way, don't judge me if I talk to myself or only answer myself. I looked at my fish pole and I was like, if you would have done it right the first time, we wouldn't be in this mess, because my fish pole was all tangled up and I was sitting there for about 5 minutes trying to get it untangled, and it was a mess. Well, I finally got it untangled, and a few more casts go by, and finally it hit me. Let me just say this, when I fish or when I dance or when I just use one of my talents for God, when I'm just having fun, God is always right there beside me, and He's in my head. And I'm not trying to sound crazy, but He's talking to me. And He's not like talking to me like, you know, what's up, Sky, how's your day going? No, He's talking to me like, you're kind of like signs throughout the day. But a few more casts finally go by, and it finally hit me. It might be even having God slapping me in the face, I don't know. Anyways, ask God, is this what you want me to preach about? And He said, yes, you idiot, I'm starting to think the fish were smarter than you are. But I cast my bait out again and started to reel it in. And I kind of sped up my bait and popped it on the water to make it look realistic, like there was actually a boat on the water so the fish would come and bite it. But immediately, the biggest bass I have ever seen in that pond came up and hit my bait so hard. I was thrashing and putting up a fight. I finally reeled it in and got it up to the bank, but it wasn't over yet. The fish managed to somehow magically unattach itself from my hook and started flopping on the mud, or in the mud. My hook all day was catching everything. It was hooking everything, but the one time I catch a fish, it lets it go. So I jumped into the mud, sinking my boots about 5 inches into trying to catch this fish with my bare hands. And this thing was about 5 pounds, it's about this big. And so its fins were pretty good size. And all y'all know, like, whenever you try to go grab for a fish, it'll spread those fins out and sharp spikes on the back, and it'll trick you. And it did not feel good. But this fish could have not been any more slippery. Every single time I tried to grip it, it would just slip through my hands. After wrestling the summer thing for about 2 minutes, I finally got a grip on it and gazed at my reward. So you see, when God sets you on the first path He has for you, do not stray from the safety of His arms. Because when you do, you have to work harder, struggle more and more, just so you can get on that first path again. People, do not stray from the fish. Stop. Listen. And calm your heart so God can speak to you instead of getting tangled up and hooked by the worldly temptations. Get it right the first time. Do not stray from the path which God has set for you. When you find yourself starting to get tangled up in lines, do not get frustrated or react in anger or take matters into your own hands. Instead, stay calm and keep your eyes on God. Do not be like Peter and take your eyes off of Jesus, for you will be consumed by the storm around you, and you are sure to sink. Do not leave here today consumed by any storms, burdens, or temptations around you. Give them to God, and He will cast them into the waters. Once He has done this for you, it is up to you to leave them there. It is not going to be easy, but the Word of God says, if you have faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And the faith of a mustard seed is so small, it's almost microscopic. And if you have that much faith, which I know some of us have so much more than that, we can move mountains. And I'm not talking about mountains as in like a legit physical mountain. I'm talking about your mountains, your hurdles that life casts at you, that the devil casts at you, like sins, like lust, or lying, or stealing, or drugs and alcohol. And I know some of you, drink alcohol. And I mean, it's not a bad thing, because in the Bible it says Jesus drank wine. But it becomes bad when you abuse it, and when you get drunk and wasted, you might say. But what I'm trying to say here is, when you accept God into your life, it's not going to be easy, but I can assure you He will be with you every step of the way. And He promises that. And like I said before earlier, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but if you have that faith on a mustard seed, you can move anything out of your way, but with God only. And another thing, like the Bible says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. So, when you accept Christ into your life, get it right first time. I'm just giving you a fair warning, because I have had people, warn me, hey, when you accept Christ, make sure you keep your eyes on Him, because like Peter did when him and the disciples were in the boat, they were sleeping, and when they woke, there was a giant storm around them, just crashing the boat and every single wave there was. But when they looked out into the ocean, they saw Jesus standing on the water, and the water around Him was calm. And Peter looked out and he saw Him. Jesus told him to step out onto the water. And when he did, he was standing on water. I mean, how awesome was that? But he was only standing on water because he had his eyes on Him. But when he looked away at the storms around him, he sank to the bottom so fast. But Jesus being Jesus, WWJD, what would Jesus do? He will be there through the whole way. Never let you go. Unless you make that decision of, not wanting to be with Him, which I pray that you never make that decision. But that's my sermon for today, and just